A recent article from the Hockey News revealed that Evander Kane's future in Edmonton may be on thin ice. We're also going to be talking about a sneaky prospect the Oilers have in the system here as well that could be really helping this team in the future. But before we get into all of this news here, we noticed that 97% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot to get all your Edmonton Oilers news, you're in the right spot. Make sure to hit the sub button. Join us along here as we cover all of the news about the Edmonton Oilers and bring it to you as soon as we can. Make sure you don't miss out on any major news from this team. But like I said, let's get straight into this article because this is a very interesting one here. Evander Kane's future may be in jeopardy with the Edmonton Oilers. And this comes from the Hockey News article here, like I said, and this is the headline. It says, opinion, Oilers need Evander Kane's best hockey for playoffs to avoid a crossroads. Evander Kane had a strong start to the season, but he struggled since and recently had a maintenance day. What happens if he doesn't rediscover his game for the Edmonton Oilers playoff run? Now, this has a lot of discussion about, his previous points this season, what he's done as of late, and everything like that, but it all kind of leads to this question here. Kane's contract worth just over $5 million annually. He has 2 years remaining after this season. While he has no full trade clause until the last season of his current deal, Edmonton's brass may quietly approach Kane this coming summer to see if it makes sense for both sides to move him to another team, and then questions whether or not a trade is right for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, this is pretty interesting. We know that Evander Kane came to this team, worked out very well with Connor McDavid and the crowd that they have there right now, but is it really important if Evander Kane does not get back to his similar start to the season in this playoffs? Could they move on from him? And I do think this is a very big possibility, mainly because of his cap. The cap is going to go up this offseason as well as, the Oilers is gaining some from players that won't return and whatnot. But Evander Kane's $5 million cap hit is definitely taking up a nice chunk of the money that they could spend on some other big pieces to be able to add to this team. And if you see here from his stats, 39 points in 68 games still isn't horrible. That's not a bad stat line whatsoever. -5 on this season, though, could definitely be better. However, you've seen from previous years that it's been around a 50 points or 50% point game per game similar. You know what I'm trying to say. But in the 21-22 season, with his first year with Edmonton, 39 points in 43 games, he really hasn't been able to find that tempo again, even last year, heading into this season. And I think the Oilers need everybody firing on all cylinders come this playoff run. We know that it's going to be a tough challenge no matter who they face. After beating Los Angeles last night, I do think that this is a possible playoff matchup once again. It would be pretty cool to see a rematch between them. But, there's going to be no easy challenge here in the West of this playoff run. So I think, a guy like Evander Kane, who has spent time down in the bottom six, spent time in the top six, really needs to take the step up once again, get back to that momentum if he does want to, have a possibility of continuing playing with this team. The Oilers don't want to waste the tenure they have with McDavid and with Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, all of these guys. So if they can move out, a $5 million chunk and get in another replacement for around the same, maybe even less, maybe spend a bit more on it once everything else clears up as well. I think the Oilers are going to, take any option they can to make this team better while they have this run right now. We know Draisaitl and McDavid, those contracts, still as they are very high priced, they're only going to be making more, you assume, when these contracts do expire. So you don't want to waste the tenure, like I said, that you have now with them. Putting a player like Kane in right now who may not be playing his best hockey. So I do think there's a great possibility that this does happen. There's a lot of free agents that are going to be interesting ones come this offseason. A lot of people are going to be interested in some of the top free agents. You have to assume the Edmonton Oilers are going to be one of them, solely because that, like I said, they have a great tenure, a great chance here now with McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, to be able to get a playoff run, a deep one. So it's going to be a really important few weeks to see how much Evander Kane can do, an important few months as well to go see what he can go do into the playoffs, and then at the beginning of the offseason, because, I think the Oilers definitely could be looking to make a move. I'm sure some teams will be interested in a Kane play style who, willing to throw the physicality, can get on the on the other side of some teams that they're not too fond of in front of that and whatnot. So he will have a hot commodity if he was on a trade market, but, it's really going to depend on what happens here in these playoffs. But let's move over now to another topic here, a pretty interesting prospect update from the Edmonton Oilers. Once again, a team like the Edmonton Oilers, currently in a playoff spot, currently, a top team in the NHL, you don't get too many prospect updates from a team like this, when they're kind of rolling with what they have right now and feeling good about what could be ahead with the team they currently have. But this update comes from Matt Copponi, the Merrimack College prospect, 20 years old, an older side of the prospect, but one who's definitely drawn some interest, risen up the Edmonton Oilers, prospect pool, and someone who's really made their way to being a proven player. And you can see here, I'm not going to read all of this once again, but Copponi, who just turned 20 this offseason, is already in his junior year of college, been one of Merrimack's top scorers in consecutive seasons, took the AAA to prep path rather than the USHL or go to a Canadian junior league, and he wasn't really on the radar until he slowly become his own. But you can read, pause here and read if you want. Kind of just goes on to show the player he is, playing with Merrimack and everything like that. But I do want to pull up his stats just to show you here. You see the 3 years in Merrimack. First year was kind of just, obviously a learning year. The same what majority of the players do, except if you're someone like Macklin Celebrini. But these last two seasons, 29 points in 37 games and 32 in 30 games this year. Merrimack not being one of the top colleges, against like Boston College, Boston University, the Minnesotas, everything like that. But you do get a good view of what a guy like this can do to a team like Merrimack, who will end up playing teams like this and really showing that he could be someone the Oilers look for in the future. And once again, like I said, he's one that's gone up a lot of people's draft radar, prospect radar in the past few months, since playing at Merrimack and fully really being able to show that what he did last season was not just a fluke. Showing what he did last season is not just something that can be looked at and then forgotten about. Really showing that, he wants to continue this career, this path that he's getting, showing, that he could potentially break an Oilers lineup, come a few years' time, come, whenever. So it's really one to keep an eye on, I guess you could say. I know I do say keep an eye on a lot, but, it's some people that you gotta make sure you're always taking a peek at when you're looking at the Oilers prospect system, and he is definitely one of them at Merrimack this season. As for what Copponi's play style is, he really plays with the chip on his shoulder, plays that he does want to keep high momentum throughout the entire game. He really drives the net, uses his feet well, strong on the ice. So one thing that Edmonton Oilers, they do have a lot of center depth as well, as we know, Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Copponi being a center, he just really is a play style that I think suits the Edmonton Oilers as they currently are. This team has a lot of players that give full 100% effort at every point in the game, and he really does fit well into that environment. This currently way he plays, and I think that eventually he could make a big impact on this Oilers team if they do try to move things around here at the center position or the forward. So, like I said, I don't think this guy's going to be rushed into any Oilers situation. He's not going to be, he might not even crack the lineup at any point soon, but I do think this is one that the Oilers will be interested in. If not, I think many other teams might be interested in trading for him. He missed a full year from COVID. The restrictions were league shut down in his season, one of his seasons. So they they missed a lot of time scouting him, but that's one thing where I find a lot of interest about those players, that you don't really know what happens that year. Could have, slowed things down in his career path. But once again, I do think it's a guy that will be showing a lot of drive to get into this roster at some point in his career. So let me know what you think about Matt Copponi, as well as the Evander Kane situation. A very interesting one that we're going to have to talk about, over these next few weeks and months heading into the playoffs here. But like I said, that's all I got here for this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to give the video a like. Make sure the sub button as well if you did enjoy. And you don't want to see more from the Edmonton Oilers and stay up to date with all of their news. But like I said, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.